This is Josh here from Inside Wrestling Truth. My guest tonight is Andrew Hunter. Andrew, how you been, man?
Doing all right, man.
All right. We're gonna get into some heat on this interview and other stuff, to make it interesting. You're a former AWA Extreme Junior Weight Heavyweight Champ and CCW Tri-State Champ, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Last week, let's just start there. You worked cash flow at PWF. Talk about that match a little bit.
It was a great learning experience, really. Of course, it's cash, so it's gonna be hard hitting and a little smash mouth, but I didn't back down, so.
It was a good match too.
Thank you.
Talk about the working at UWA too, also.
UWA, I really like working there. A lot of people really shit on it, but it's actually probably one of my favorite places to work because it's a lot of young guys that are really learning. So it's I'm kind of in that in-between point. So I'm not a vet yet, but I'm also not a green boy. So I feel like I'm like a go-between and I can help a lot of the younger guys there out.
They got a show coming up.
The 29th.
29th. Was it their anniversary show?
Yes.
All right, now let's get into some discussion here. Because people like to make comments on Facebook, and I feel like you should be able to give your opinion and address your thoughts.
Right.
Let's go ahead and just put it out there. Let's talk about Eric Draven and Nick Noble.
Well, basically what happened there was evidently they felt like I was hitting them too hard, and last time I checked, wrestling is full contact. And so Nick Noble thinks it's his duty to calm me down. So he starts roughing me up. So I start roughing him back up. He grabs me in a front face lock and is trying to legit choke me out, and people separate us or whatever. And so needless to say, I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back. And shortly after that, AWA Extreme ran in the same building as NWA Supreme. And shortly after I quit Supreme, Eric Draven puts the kibosh to AWA Extreme, which really sucks because I was having a lot of fun there too, working for Spaz. Spaz, I love you, man. And I was really trying to help this company grow and just kind of be its own thing, and it kind of got the kibosh put to it, and it was one of those moments, and I'm like, this sucks, man. I hate how somebody else's ego can destroy something that somebody else is putting their hard-earned money into to build.
No doubt. Is there still heat there?
With Draven, no, because actually, after he posted all that stuff and talking about me beating this kid up and all this other stuff, we actually talked on the phone, and as far as I know, me and Draven don't have a problem. Nick Noble, on the other hand, I can give two shits about.
Okay, the next guy on our list is Nate Steele.
This is a guy who likes to talk shit from far away. He's a Facebook warrior. He gets on there, I'll make a post talking about I got an upcoming show or something, and I'll be like, no one better, and he'll be like, I think not, and shit like that. Basically, the other day, I replied to his comments and go fuck yourself. I don't put up with shit like that, so I don't care what he has to say about me. I don't care what he has to think about me. As far as I know, very, very few people like him because he is a little smart mouth.
No doubt. I don't know him. I've never met him, so I don't know. Maybe one day we'll meet somewhere.
Yeah.
Who's the most overrated in our area?
Most overrated.
Just in your opinion.
Oh, God.
Because I feel like there's a few. I don't get it. That's just me.
I mean, there's a few guys that I like on a personal level that I think are overrated, but I'm not going to go into those because it's they're my friends. So we'll leave it at that.
All right.
But as far as anybody right off that I think's overrated, God, this is actually kind of hard. We'll come back to this one.
All right.
Give me time to think on this one because I really want to give you an answer, but I can't really give you one right off.
All right, last year you did Kings of the Coliseum,
Oh.
and you worked, was it Nick Depp, and you got injured in the match with J.C. Rotten, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, both those matches went really well. I got the first round was against Nick Depp. I pretty much beat him to a bloody pulp. Sorry, Nick. No love lost there. You just need to learn to know when to shut up. J.C. Rotten, though, like, that's where the accident happened that I got cut on my left shoulder by a light tube. I mean, it was a pure accident. I don't blame J.C. at all.
Exactly.
I mean, we've talked about the incident several times since. You know, we both kind of joke about it now. But, I mean, shit happens. Especially when you're dealing with light tubes and thumbtacks and things like that. Shit happens, man. After that, though, like, I was kind of like, yeah, I think I'm done with this deathmatch stuff. It's not really for me. I'll figure out some other way to do what I do. But, I mean, but I had stitches for, like, 2 or 3 weeks, and then, like, the day I got my stitches out, I wrestled that night, so, you know.
Why do you think there's hate for Andrew Hunter from, you know, just people in general in the area?
Because I'm not afraid to say what I think, and people tend to not like when you say what you're gonna say, regardless. I think there's a lot of like kiss my ass going on in wrestling. So when you tell them otherwise, they tend to not like that. But you know, people that like me. People that don't, man. It's not any sweat off my back, you know.
What about work? I mean, you've been around long enough. What about your worst promoter and worst company, dude?
I think I've said this on a previous interview. I still think working for EPW was probably the worst promoted company I have ever worked for. Just because it's just, they had no business running a company. Working for a company, that's one thing, but like, you gotta have some kind of business know-how to run a company and to promote it properly. It just wasn't promoted properly on any instance, especially like when I worked there. I mean, they had Michael Elgin on a show and didn't even promote him. If you're gonna shell out that kind of money for a guy like Michael Elgin, you're gonna promote that, right?
Right.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I would hope so, and they drew 8 people because of the lack of promotion.
Wow.
So,
what's your thoughts on leaving, when you left CCW, when everything went down, what was your thoughts? Did you have hate there or what?
Personally, no. Because, I mean, there was never anything personally done to me there.
Right.
It's just, when you fuck with family, then I have a problem. You know?
Exactly.
I was trained by Jimmy. So, and that's the one guy you're supposed to stay loyal to in this business no matter what. And when you see that go down, my loyalty's gonna lie with Jimmy regardless. I don't care who it is, you know. There was some funky shit going on that night, as far as I could tell. You know, I get to the back. I've never had a problem being paid there at all. And magically, I don't have an envelope, you know? Yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
And again, I'm like completely oblivious to what's going on. And then, thankfully, a couple of guys in the locker room, you know, was like, hey, this guy needs an envelope. Like, make it happen. And actually, I'll say who those 2 guys were. It was John Wayne Murdoch and Reed Bentley. You know, a lot of people have a lot of bad things to say about both those guys, but you know, in that instance, they had my back, and you know, I appreciate that. You know, I don't have any hard feelings towards any of the boys, like ever.
Right.
Because the boys are the boys. You know, promoters on the other hand, I do get I get kind of pissy with them.
Yeah.
You know, because sometimes they forget that they were one of the boys once too, and they didn't like getting fucked around, but yet they'll go turn around and fuck around the boys. You know, it's the only reason you have a fucking show is because of the boys.
Oh, shit. Well, what company should just close, man? Is there any you can think
A lot of them. You know, if you're not promoting your show right and you're drawing 8 people, 12 people, if you're not drawing, especially in an area like this, Louisville is a wrestling town.
Yeah, no shit.
Believe it or not, like people are like, ugh. No, Louisville's a wrestling town. You know, they run the Louisville Gardens forever. You know what? Those fans aren't all dead.
Yeah.
You know, they want to go watch wrestling, and if you can't draw over 100 people in this area, there is a problem. Because there are wrestling fans that will go to every show. You know, they don't just choose PWF, they don't just choose IWA, they don't just choose OVW, or they will go to pretty much anything that has wrestling on it if you promote it right and you have the right kind of talent. They will go and watch it. You know? I mean, in some situations it sucks, they do have to choose. I know, like, I mean, whether it be like, oh, I didn't know you were running that night, whatever. Some situations they do have to choose, and that sucks. But, you know, they're going to go to every product. Literally, I have seen fans at every company I've wrestled at this area. You know, whether it be KDW, UWA, Furious Wrestling, the one that Corp ran, PWF, IWA Mid-South. I have SWE when it was still open. A lot of the same fans went to everything.
Yeah.
Like, if you promote your show right and put up the right product, they will come. Like, it's not that hard in this area. And, like, in my opinion, you can't have too much wrestling. Because, like I said, they're going to come regardless. And when you're drawing 8 people and you can't figure out why, there's something wrong with you as the promoter. Because a lot of these shows, whether it be good or bad, have a lot of the same guys on it. And a lot of people are going to pay to watch these people several times. It doesn't matter who it's for. But if you're not drawing with the same guy that guy A's drawing with, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, no shit, man.
You just need to close up shop and quit. That's it.
Let's just say over the last year, who are some guys you've lost respect for?
Oh, man. That I've lost respect for?
Yeah. Is there any?
You know, a lot of the guys that I've ever put a lot of respect in, like, I do still respect them.
Yeah.
But, okay, I'm not going to name any specifics out here, but, like, guys that say, hey, yes, I'll be there, I got your back, no matter what, and then aren't there.
Yeah.
When it comes down to time to do things, they're just not there.
Yeah.
And I don't have any use for you if your word ain't good for nothing.
Some other companies you want to work for?
Actually, as a matter of fact, I want to try to give a shot at OVW. It's just a matter of trying to figure out how to make that work and things like that. You know, not because of what they were, but just because I've never worked there before, and I would love to. I would just love this shot.
Yeah.
Just because it's another situation where I'm going to learn something new. You know, because it's a different style than a PWF. It's a different style than CCW or IWA Mid-South. It's just another tool you can put in that toolbox.
Yeah.
It's just like going to different areas, you're going to learn different things. Like you go down south, you're going to learn to work a little more Memphis stuff. Or I think the style they're calling it now is Southern Strong Style, which is a mixture of, from what I've gathered, is a mixture of like Strong Style and Memphis. Which is intriguing, and I'd love to go down there. Pretty much anywhere down south. You know, I'd love to work at AIW or AA and AAW. You know, pretty much anywhere. You know, anywhere I'm going to learn something new, because I've been in this area for so long that I just want something new.
Why is there so much bitching in wrestling, like backstage politics, man?
From just pure spectation. It's more or less like I want his spot, so I'm gonna cut his throat to get his spot. And man, I'm more of just a come whatever may. It's like I want to wrestle, and I want to wrestle talented guys. I don't want to wrestle Joe Blow that's been in the area for 20 years and doesn't know his head from a fucking hole in the ground. That has some pumped up ego that's gonna cut your throat to stay the number one guy in the area. I don't want to mess with shit like that. So the politics thing, like, it's just beyond me. I don't have time for it.
Worst locker room.
Is this talking about like just like the politics shit again, or is it? Oh, okay. Well, politics wise, like I hated being in Madison because it does have quite a few of those guys. Some of the guys I really like, but it has a lot of those guys that will be in the business for 2 months and then they'll go away for like a year and they'll come back and be like, oh, I'm so and so, I've been in the business for however long, and in reality you've only like a cumulative amount of time is like a year. Like just because you come back for 2 months and you go away for 2 or 3, you like it doesn't, like, that time doesn't roll over. You know, you're not actively working, you know, and you work 2 matches within that 2 months. Like, come on, man. Like, there's a lot of those guys that are just like, oh, I've been here for man, nobody cares. Does anybody know you 10 miles from here? Probably not. Shut up. Like,
so
like if they don't know who you are 30 minutes away, I don't care. I don't care that you're the king of fucking backwoods nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, nobody gives a shit.
So NWA Supreme has the worst locker.
Yeah, because it has a lot of those guys in it that are just like, oh, I've been in the business for 20 years. No, you've been in the business for like a year. It's just over a 20-year span.
Tell me your thoughts on WWA.
I have a lot of friends there. You know, they draw great crowds. You know, Chris runs a very tight ship. We'll put it that way. And I have no ill will towards them. I wish them the best of luck. You know, I went back and worked for them for 2 or 3 months at the beginning of the year. I mean, I had fun while I was there. You know, I worked with Ray a lot, which was fun. And, you know, I got a lot of good friends there, like Teddy King. Awesome. You ever seen Teddy?
Yeah.
Teddy's great. Ray's really good. Jordan's really good. You know, there's a lot of great, talented guys there. You know, and they're doing well for themselves. So, I mean, I have nothing bad to say about that place.
What about working for Corporal Robinson?
Hey, man, I got paid.
All right.
We'll leave it at that. I got paid. And I actually, you know what? Actually, I'll talk about, like, some of the matches I had there were really good. Like, I worked with Toby Farley. It's fantastic. Worked with Aaron Williams. Anytime anybody wants to make that happen again, I will have a match with Aaron Williams all day, every day. Toby Farley the same way. But as far as everything else, not my beef, man. Don't care.
Right. What guys do you regret working with? Like, damn, I wish I never had that fucking match.
Oh boy. Nate Steele. Billy Mattern. God. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, everybody else, like, I usually get like really good matches. Like, I pretty much enjoy working with anybody I want to learn something from. But I mean, if I'm not gonna learn from you, or you're not gonna learn from me, you know, ain't got time.
What about what about the worst person you wrestled?
Oh. Well, there was this one guy I wrestled at SMPW. Like, it was like I'd only worked there like twice, And like the first time I went up with a couple of guys from WWA, and then the second time I worked, he had like a pacemaker or something in, and he was like a young guy, and he had like a scar down his chest, and he's like, yeah, you can't do this, and this to me, or I'll die.
No.
I'm like, fantastic.
Damn, that's a murder charge. Wait a minute.
Yeah, he's like, you can't chop me because I'll die. I'm like, okay. So anyway, like, I was really young at the time, like really green. So I go to do this dive on this kid, he moves, and I land in the lap of a lady in a wheelchair. Because like everybody else scatters, and I like land right in the lap of this lady in a wheelchair because she couldn't go anywhere.
What'd she do?
I don't really know how she reacted. I was mortified by what happened.
Alright, what about biggest egos?
Oh. Eric Draven. He has a huge ego.
Really?
And I feel like if he could get rid of his ego and just kind of like run everything in the back, his product would be a lot better. Instead of worrying about getting himself over, get everybody else over. You know, guys like that are like the ones that, like as far as egos, like everybody in this business has to have an ego. Or why are you here? Because it's all about making yourself feel good, I guess. You know, like, because you gotta have some kind of, you gotta carry yourself like you have some kind of ego at least. And that would be the main one that I think like ego hurts. Because it hurts his product, not just people's view of him. It hurts his product too.
Worst promos. Who does the worst promos, man?
Oh, man.
Besides that one chick. Who does the worst promos?
What one chick?
Oh, hell, I can't remember her name, dude. I want to put her on blast. She was horrible, dude. Oh, man, I can't remember. She used to...
Oh, okay. No, we're not talking about that.
Who does some bad ones, man? They know they do bad ones. They already know they suck.
You know, like, if they're bad, I don't really pay attention to them.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
like, it's like one of those situations, it's like, if I see, like, a shitty promo, I'm like, 2 seconds in, I'm done. Because, I mean, everybody has bad ones.
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes the guys that do bad ones have good ones. Like, I tell you who used to have terrible promos, and now he has fantastic promos. Nick Depp.
Okay.
God, I used to hate his promos. So as far as worst ones, babyface Nick Depp. Awful. Because it made me want to punch him in the face.
Nick
For all the same reasons his heel promos make me want to punch him in the face.
He's a good heel, I think.
No, absolutely.
Alright, eBay champions. This is what Madman Pondo. I did an interview with him, and he's like, man, there's tons of eBay champions everywhere. Who's some of the
I'm guessing that's where they go and they start their own company, they buy a belt on eBay.
No, they think they're the shit because they have a belt.
Oh, okay, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, God. There's a bunch of those. You know, again, it goes back to those small town, 20-year veterans. You know, it's those guys. More often than not, or they're really green and they get their first title within like 2 months and they think they're the shit. Like walking around holding the title, like in the locker room and shit. That's just gonna get you beat up.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of those, but it's more often than not, it's those 20-year veterans from a small town of nowhere.
Worst gimmicks. Whose gimmicks are just goddamn horrible? They just need to stop it. They just need to quit. They're just embarrassing themselves.
Oh,
There's
God.
gotta be some.
Anytime I see a guy that's just like, hey, I'm gonna be the Undertaker and not be the Undertaker, it's just gonna be some goth guy. Like, I hate that. Like I don't know this guy personally, but I have seen him on flyers for shows. And this company doesn't even run anymore. It's LCW or L something, Live Wire Championship Wrestling. There was a guy named Priest, and like I'm a small dude, but like this dude, like his body weight probably weighed as much as my leg, and he was called Priest, and he reminded me of like if The Undertaker just stopped eating for like 6 years. Somebody put him in the dryer and he just shriveled up. Like, that is probably like one of the worst gimmicks that anybody could do, is be like, yeah, I'm this goth kid. Well, guess what? A goth kid's too worried about hurting himself and not hurting anybody else.
Who pays the worst, though?
Ugh. Pretty much anybody that says, hey, I'll pay you X amount of dollars, and you come in and they're like, well, sorry.
Yeah.
It was a little light. It was like, and then you go back and you realize that they've been drawing 10 people for the last year. You knew it was going to be kind of light. Why are you going to offer me that kind of money? Those are the worst kind of guys. Like, I can't really pinpoint that out because that happens a lot. And it's not just a couple specific people. Like, a lot of people pull that shit. Of like, hey, yeah, come in for blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, sure, that sounds fantastic. And you go and you get $5 and you're like, oh, hold the fuck up, dog.
Yeah. Let's go back to most overrated in our area.
Is this from like a fan's point of view or the boys? From a fan's point of view, I'd assume. Really?
Yeah.
I don't really see the boys really pumping up guys.
Right, we'll do fans in.
Okay. Vito. I mean, really, like, I'm sure at one point Vito was something, but it's like there are a select few fans that just make him, like, and he's knowledgeable, don't get me wrong. Like, it's just, and I'm not saying Vito's terrible. I'm just saying that, like, that's a prime example of they're making him way more than what he is. He knows his stuff. I've worked for Vito, and I don't dislike Vito. I'm just saying, like, that's one of those guys. And there are a lot of guys like him. And then as far as guys that are, like, pumped up in their own minds, guys like Nate Steele, he thinks he's some fucking badass, but in reality, people don't know who he is. They don't care to know who he is. So, again.
Okay. All right. Currently, you're working in PWF. They got a show June 3rd. Who are some guys you want to work with in the future in PWF?
Oh man, there are a lot. Chip Day.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've had a match with Iggy before. Love to have a match with Kerry. I have a massive amount of respect for both of them guys. I would love to have a match with Kerry Awful. Isaiah, I've never had a one-on-one match with Isaiah, but would love to. I would love to wrestle Shane again. Murder One, that seems fantastic.
Yeah. He didn't get that name from baking cakes either.
Oh, no. Absolutely not.
Shit.
Aaron Williams, love to have a match with him again. Chase Owens. You know, pretty much any of them Georgia boys, fantastic.
That's pretty much the roster, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a few that aren't, but I guess, but any of them Georgia boys, man, they're all fucking good. Gary J's fantastic. I know he's not one of the Georgia boys, but Gary's, God, he's fucking amazing. Trip Cassidy would be fun. You know, I'd love to beat the shit out of Nick again.
What have you learned the most the past year in the wrestling business, man?
Watch who you trust, for one. But for the most part, I've just learned to be better. And I've learned that, like, you just gotta always be ready to do your absolute best. No matter if, like, it's day one or you've been in the business for 20 years, you know, you've always got to be trying to learn something. You know, and just take care of yourself. Like, don't get fucked up with drugs or shit. Like I've never had a problem with it, but I'm just saying, like, I've seen a lot of guys that do, and it sucks to see guys go down that path. And just And it sucks. Like one of the biggest lessons. It goes back to what I said about watch who you trust, man. It's like you always gotta watch your back. And luckily at PWF you don't have that, or at UWA you don't have that. You know, that's why I love working in them places. PWF, obviously the talent's fantastic. You know, UWA has such a promising future. It's just, you got to get off your ass and go. Like, you can't just sit stagnant in one area forever, and that's what I feel like I've been doing for the last year. And, you know, I'm, at the time of recording this, I'm actually going on a trip tomorrow with Shane Mercer. So, that's going to be fun.
That's fun. Can you think of any people or any topics that we haven't talked about in this interview that you want to talk about?
I personally think, like, how people are like, oh, the business is going to shit. No, the business isn't going to shit. It's just changing.
Yeah,
you know, it's different than it was 10 years ago. Hell, it's different than it was 5 years ago. You know, it's not going to shit because you have people doing it that love it. You know, you've got guys like Kerry Awful and Nick Iggy who are everywhere. How is business going to shit when you got guys like that busting their ass? Yeah. Chip Day, going everywhere. Shane Mercer, he's fucking traveling and doing his thing. Like, I don't understand how a lot of these the older guys, like the vets, are saying like the business is going to shit. No, it's just changed. And it for better or for worse, it's always going to change. Everything in life changes.
Yeah.
Everything in life has to evolve. Like,
keep up with the time.
Yeah, we've got something to worry about that they didn't have to worry about so much. It's called the internet.
Yeah.
Anytime you slip up or fuck up or anything looks the slightest, they're gonna blast it all over the internet. You know, back then they're like, oh, you can't work, you hit too hard or whatever. Yeah, we have to. We have to. And you could thank the internet for that, because any whiff punch, anything that's slightly off, it's blasted all over social media.
Yeah.
And that exposes things way more than some of the antics that are pulled. Whether it be super kick an 8-year-old kid, or, you know, throwing somebody across the ring by their dick, or whatever that is. You know, like, that doesn't expose the business nearly as much as the internet itself does. Then that's why we have to work so much harder. Because we can't get... And plus, like, in the older days, they didn't have the internet, and hell, they didn't have really, at one point, didn't even have, like, cable television.
Yeah.
So, like, what you did in town A didn't get seen across the world.
Like Memphis and Louisville.
Yeah, right. Like, you done something in Memphis, you could turn around and do the same thing, or borderline the same thing in Louisville.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to see it. Now, if I do something in Louisville, they're going to see it in California. You know, it's not like it was back then. So, yes, we have to work 10 times harder. You know, like they say, it's not always how much you do, it's what you do. And that's true. But when that what you do has to be more now. Like, I think that's where, like, they're like, you're working, you're doing too much of this, you're doing too much of that because we have to. It's not because, absolutely not because we want to. Think I want to go out there and break my back like every fucking show? Yeah. You think I want to fly off the top of fucking shit and land on stages and shit and get just fucking crumpled every night? No, that is not my idea of a good time. But I have to. Or it's because working a headlock for 20 minutes isn't going to get by these days. It's just not.
No.
Unfortunately, because I love old Memphis wrestling. Yeah. I love shit like that. But now you just have to do more. You have to.
Did you ever work for PWF when they were in Kentucky?
No, they actually closed right before I was supposed to debut. Like, literally I think they closed in December. I'm supposed to debut in January, or it may have been in January, and I was supposed to debut in February, something like that. It was like literally like closed right before I was supposed to debut down there.
The PWF June 3rd. What's the name of the show?
I don't think it even has a name yet. Oh, wait. I'm sure it does because I'm already tagged on flyers. Hold on.
Oh, you're fine. I know it's June 3rd. I didn't get to catch the name.
Sabotage.
Who you working on that? Who you wrestling on that show?
Austin Blackburn. It's a four-way. It's me, Austin Blackburn, Owen Knight, who is really good. I've been watching a lot of his stuff. Nick Depp, who I've known for fucking ever. And I think Austin Blackburn, I think he was trained by Gary J, so looks to be good.
You want to give a shout out or say anything else before we head out of here?
Man, I'm just thankful for PWF. You know, I'm thankful to have the opportunity to work there. Anybody anybody that's ever gave me a shot, regardless, I'm thankful. You know, I come off as an arrogant little prick sometimes, but you know, it's only because I love what I do, and I take what I do very seriously. But again, thank you to anybody who's ever gave me an opportunity in this business.
All right, man.